Yeah, I definitely think this is gonna take a very good Gunner Stockton game to win. And at this point in the year, like I think we both definitely have full faith in him to do that. Like at this point, I think it's just fair to say Gunner Stockton's a really good player, and he can be kind of an engine, kind of that catalyst for your offense. Where like when you need someone to pick it up, your quarterback can be the one to pick it up, and not every team can say that. Even teams that have good quarterbacks don't always have a quarterback like that. So I think
Yeah.
Georgia is gonna be the they're gonna really want to need to control the ball in this game and just kind of sit on it, dictate the pace, everything like that. We always say with running the ball, and it'll be tough for them to do that. And like I said, I think this is kind of a closer defense to Auburn than it is to Ole Miss. So maybe the run game won't be automatic, but I think what Gunner Stockton can do for you as a passer, and then on the running game on top of that, and what he opens up for you just in the short intermediate areas of the field, like that's kind of all the difference in this game. In a game like this, where you're going to have to stay ahead of the chains and sustain drives, like Gunnar Stockton has just proven time and time again that he can do that. If it's a shootout, he can keep up. And if it's a game where you need to be more methodical and kind of, have these prolonged death march type of drives, he can do that too. So I have full faith in Gunnar Stockton to win this game, but that is what it's going to take ultimately. And I think that's fair to recognize that.
For sure. And shout out to Sanjay's grandmother if she's got the ability to make some plays. But yeah, I think there was this idea if Georgia was going to be like a top 5 team, like a contender this year, that they would have to do it kind of the way Texas A&M is doing it. And that's not meant as any sort of shade to Marcel Reed. He's been really good this year, but he's been good. Like what I talk about, like the Jalen Hurts, like the Philadelphia Eagles formula, like he's been kind of managing the game and then makes plays when he needs to make plays. And he's got a bunch of dudes around him. He's got a great defense on the other side. And that's not what Georgia is at all this year. Yeah. That's how like Marcel Reed and A&M are almost doing the best Stetson Bennett in Georgia impression they can do,
Freak athlete Stetson Bennett.
Absolutely. Hey, we saw Stetson go for 50-yard runs like Marcel Reed did on Saturday. But Marcel Reed, he's a playmaker. He's tight. No disrespect to him at all. But yeah, Stetson's the one that's having to make plays for this offense and to kind of just be the engine to make this team go. And now the first full game, I mean, they basically played a whole game without Kobe Young, but now I'm not going to have him for any snaps at all. So it'll be interesting to see what Georgia's playmakers can do. But they've been a lot better this year at making those plays and just catching the ball. Like, knock on wood, famous last words, but Georgia's just, when they've needed a third down conversion, it's maybe they need 5 and it's London Humphrey to pick up 7. It's Zachariah Branch to pick up 6. And they've been able to make a lot of contested, tough catches throughout the year, and they're going to need it more in this game. The tight ends as well. We've seen the tight ends the last couple of weeks have better games. Lawson Lucky with his coming out party against Ole Miss. You're going to need to see the tight ends be involved. But in the end, like I think Florida's got I think these defenses are comparable. I think maybe Florida's got a better defense than Georgia. And I will concede that point. But Georgia's offense to this point has just been so much better. I think there's no real reason to think Florida can hang with this team for 4 quarters, other than if they get spotted 14 points in the second quarter, like has happened in a lot of other Georgia games. But you also look at the turnover differential. So Georgia's even on the season in SEC games in turnover differential. Turned opponents over 5 times, turned it over 5 times. However, 2 of those turnovers are a Hail Mary by our boy Ryan Puglisi against Tennessee, and then a garbage time pick by Puglisi against Kentucky. So Florida has turned the ball over 12 times and turned opponents over 7. So they're -5 in the turnover differential. And I think that's probably the best thing you can say for this Georgia team. Maybe the Alabama game is the one exception, with Nate Frazier giving the ball up on their own 10-yard line. But for all their struggles, Georgia hasn't really beaten themselves this year. And so I trust again that it's just, maybe it's going to be a tough 4-quarter game, but I mean, this team has done this a lot. So I can't in good conscience think that this Florida team can really match Georgia's offense for 4 quarters.
Yeah, that's ultimately where I kind of agree with you. Is like I think Florida is probably going to make some plays early and hit on some explosives down the field or whatnot, like and they'll be juiced. But Georgia has shown this year multiple times that their offense can really go for 60 minutes. And I guess the big thing to look out for on that end of the ball this game is how much Colby Young's absence affects that. Because, yeah, like you said, they hit that flea flicker to Colby Young at the beginning of the game, and then he got injured on that play. And, that was his last play as a Georgia Bulldog in all likelihood. And they went on to be just fine in that game ultimately. But, like, still, that's your best receiver. Like, that's your best perimeter weapon. That's the guy who could just win one-on-ones and make big plays by himself, unlike anybody else on your roster. And the guy that, we and a bunch of other people have kind of hailed as the most likely guy to step into that role or something like it is Noah Thomas, just because he fits that same sort of physical profile and he has a track record of doing that sort of thing at A&M. But Noah Thomas has not really done anything this year except for the one catch against Auburn. And so we're about to see, like, is that just some weird thing that was going on earlier in the year, or is there like a real reason for that? Is Noah Thomas just maybe not very good? Maybe he's got some injury we don't know about, or maybe he's just not playing well. That'll be a big thing to look out for Georgia in this game. It's just, where does the perimeter playmaking come from? Obviously, they're going to rely on the run game and the tight ends, but like, there are going to be times where you're going to have to stretch the field, throw it to the sidelines, and right now, like, it's not really clear who that's going to come from.
Yeah, because Zachariah Branch, as dangerous as he is, and he obviously is a weapon downfield. What made him so dangerous is that screen game. So it's the short stuff, kind of the extension of the run game. But yeah, that actual big body guy making contested catches. Noah Thomas is a great shout out, because I tend to think, Georgia's has a really deep receiving core, and the offense, the passing offense was working well early in the season. I guess it wasn't working well versus the cupcake games, but it wasn't like things were going bad and Noah Thomas wasn't doing anything. It's like, oh no, other guys are just having good games. Lennon Humphreys is playing well, and Branch and Colby Young.
So freaking good, man. Like that.
Yeah.
I don't think we probably haven't, we as well as the national media have not harped on enough how big of a loss that is. Colby Young is a stud, man. That's a huge.
I think you're right. I think that is a big one, because I think he had looked like he had improved his game this year as well. He just looked even more explosive. It's a huge loss for sure. I'm not going to minimize it at all, but I do think Noah Thomas, if you can have a second option for a guy who hasn't made an impact so far, I think Noah Thomas you would bank on more than a lot of other unproven guys. Excuse me, in this conference.
That's definitely the most obvious like pathway to it ever, right? Is like this high-profile portal guy who led A&M in receiving last year, a pretty good passing offense, transfers to Georgia, doesn't really do much, but the guy who was literally playing his exact position, ex-receiver, who led them in receiving, gets injured, and it's not like Noah Thomas hasn't done anything, because he made one of the plays of the season at Auburn. So,
yeah.
Be as small of a sample size as it may be, we have seen it. It's not like this guy's just completely fat and out of shape. So he could come in and really make an impact right away. And the Young injury, unfortunate as it is, really presents him that opportunity. And every game from here on out, I think it's fair. Like, before the year, or before this, I would agree with you. Like, I didn't really care that Noah Thomas wasn't doing that much, because I was just like, look at the passing game. The passing game is doing great.
Yeah.
But now that there's a real void in the passing game, there's a real role that needs to be filled at X receiver, at just outside playmaker, winner. Noah Thomas kind of has to be that now. He was a luxury before this, but they need him now. And I think it's fair to treat him that way from here on out.